everyone, this is Denise from Creates with Love, and today we're going to be making some like a business card that are going to be man cards. So you'll be able to give these to your friend, father, relative, dad, hubby, what have you, or just have on hand for fun to give to guys or officers or whoever that I made, these cards for. I created 22 different varieties, so you can print one or all for free. They're going to be over on my resource library. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I hope you're having a beautiful day, and let's get right to it. So I store my free files in my resource library. This is my website here, Creates with Love. So you want to go to the resource library. If you've not been to my resource library yet, you will need to sign up right here to get a password. If you already have your password, you would put it in here and just hit enter, and it takes you right here. So here is the man card files. You want to simply click one time. If you're on a Chrome browser, it's going to download it in the lower left-hand corner. Let me just move my browser over a little bit. You want to click that arrow and choose Show in Folder. I'm going to double click. This is the file that just downloaded. See, it says man cards and it's a zipped file. You want to just double click it. And then what I'm going to do is just simply drag this folder, or actually I'm going to double click it one more time. That was going to open my files. Now, today I'm going to go over engraving with the Cricut Maker. So for that, we're going to need the SVG file. So I'm going to take this and just simply drag it to my desktop. And then this one, if you want to print the card, you want to go with the PDF file. And this would be if you're able to use it with different cutting machines. And then this is about my files. All right, so we've got our SVG file here. I've already printed a bunch, so you'll be able to see what they look like printed. So I'm going to close this. I don't need it. I don't need the website. And I'm going to open Design Space. And then here we're going to go ahead and start a new project. We're going to go to our upload option, and then we're going to upload image. And then this is where you can literally just drag your file right here, or you can choose here and find your file to where your downloaded file is located, the one that you had just downloaded from the website. So I like to do it this way. It's a lot easier, and I think it causes less confusion with people. Once you use your file, you can always file it wherever you like afterwards for using at another time. But I like this way to keep it simple for people. So here's my SVG file. I'm going to take it and drag it. As soon as this window turns green, just release your mouse. It's going to put all the files right here. I'm going to tag it with just man and card and hit save. All right, so here we want to get it into Design Space, so we're going to click on it once right here. Once it turns green, we go to Insert Images. It's going to load all of the files grouped together in one group. See, there is 22 different men card sayings for you, so you can pick and choose whichever ones you want. And have fun with it. We had a lot of fun creating it. I wrote a little bit about it on my blog, so if you're interested in our cute little story about how this came about, you can check out the post on my blog. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to pick one to do today to show you how to ungroup them, how to take this. I included two templates. One, if you wanted to use a different font, you could literally create your own man card. Maybe after reading mine, you'll get inspiration for, maybe say your husband maybe is a fireman. Maybe you come up with a cute man card saying for a fireman. So just, you'll kind of see by looking at what I did, just some different things you can come up with. This font is a font that I have purchased it. It's called Colonna, Collonna. Trying to remember where I usually get my fonts from, either JPEG, Hungry JPEG, or fontbundles.net or Creative Market. So it's going to be on one of those. I don't know if it's on Dafont. You can try dafont.com if you want to use it for personal use, but all of my fonts I usually buy because I end up giving them away, which means I need to purchase them. Alrighty, so let's get this going. So I've got everything grouped. So what you want, the first thing you want to do is ungroup. So you want to do that over here, ungroup. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these cards here and just put it over there. Let me decide. Let's just go ahead and go with, I'm trying to pick one that I haven't done yet. You know what? I haven't done the crafter one. I think that one's cute. Okay, so since I have not created this one yet, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So I'm going to put it up here with this card that I'm going to be using. And all of this, I just don't need right now, right? Because I'm going to be using these two. So quickly, I'm just going to group these two together and hit group. Okay, so it's very up at the top and it's going to be grouped. So now what we want to do, you're only going to engrave one at a time. So what I want to do, because I might decide to make one of these later. So I'm going to group this whole group back together. And the easiest way to do that is you can see that if we click here, which I already had, that's why it's selected, they're highlighted here. Okay, so that way we won't accidentally group these with these. So what I'm going to do is select the first one that's below this group and click on it with my mouse. And now I'm going to put my finger on the shift key and hold it there. While I hold the shift key down, I'm just going to click every last thing that is on here. And this is how we will group it all together. Sorry about that. That's dog barking. Okay, so now we've got everything selected. So we're going to click on group. All right. Now what I want to do, this is the group here. I want to scroll my mouse all the way back up so I can find that group. See how it's selected here? That's why it's highlighted here. I'm just going to click this little eye and turn off that layer. Now, if you see, all the files are gone. They're all grouped together and turned off so they are not in our way. So let's make our card. So we're going to ungroup this one. Remember, we had just grouped it. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to take the words, which are now set up as a cut file. That's how they come right out of Adobe Illustrator. When I create them, they automatically come out as cut. I'm going to take them and hit that drop down, and I'm going to change the line type to engrave. That just turned this into an engrave file. I'm going to take this, which is the exact same size of the aluminum business cards. I'll link it down in the description below if you want to buy them. I think they're awesome. They come in different colors, and they just make it a fun. I just think they look awesome engraved. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and instead of cutting it, I'm going to change it to a score. Okay, so we're going to trick basically our Cricut Maker into knowing where to engrave it by actually using the score line, but not using the score tool. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to take my saying here, I'm going to put it in the card, I'm going to highlight it all. I'm going to align and center. And now it's all centered, aligned, everything's good. I'm going to attach. Okay, we are ready to engrave our card. So next thing we're going to do is click on Make It. This is where we want to move the project to where we want it to be on the actual physical mat. Okay, so this is our prepare mat. It shows it up here. I'm going to zoom it up to 150 just so I can make sure my lines are tight and right. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to drag it and put it exactly in the corner of the 1 inch by 1 inch mark. That is perfect right there. I'm going to zoom my mat back down and I'm going to click on continue. It's going to hook up my machine. I'm going to set my material. So I'm going to click on Browse All Materials. The only one right now that will allow you to score, but also get the right engraving pressure on these aluminum business cards is this one right here, Metal Dash 40 Gauge Thin Copper. No, they're not copper, but this setting works perfectly for these aluminum business cards. So select that one, click Done. Now, this is where you want to tell your Cricut Maker to not use the scoring wheel, right? It automatically wants to use the scoring wheel. So we're going to click on Edit Tools. We're going to switch it to the scoring stylus. Now, don't worry if you don't have a scoring stylus. We're not actually going to score. We're just going to pretend like we are. So we will hit Apply, and now we are ready to go. Make sure you have, now ignore this, you don't need to put anything in clamp A. It will still go through the motion of scoring. That's what we want it to do. But do make sure you have your number 41 engraving tip in clamp B. All right, I'll meet you over at the maker in just a moment. Okay, so as you can see, I've had a blast making these cards. Sorry, I get carried away sometimes. So let me just kind of go through them real quick before we do the engraving. So these are how the black engraved cards come out. Let's see if you can actually get a good look at that without glare. Let me see if it's better in this camera. Of course, my lights. But you can see that the engraving comes out really, really nice. Okay? Now let me show you the difference of a blue one. I think this one turned out, these I think are the best colors. The engraving just shows better. Okay? And you can see, let me put them here, they do bend. Okay? I don't know how that's going to hold up, you know, depending on how your man uses the wallet, right? If that's where they're going to store it, but they might just want to set it on their desk at work or at home or what have you, right? You know, who knows what they're going to want to do with them or carry them around. Now the gold, as you can see, it comes out okay, right? It comes out okay, but it just, you can't view it as well, I've noticed, like as the blue and black. They seem to be the best. Now, I tried the silver, and unfortunately, I actually laminated this one just to see if the lamination would make it stronger, but it really didn't change the look of the engraving. As you can tell, you really can't see it that well, and this is a really good engraving font, but you just can't see it that well. So I'm not going to use the silver for engraving. Now, you could do a vinyl. I wouldn't do vinyl with this font, but you could do a vinyl on the silver cards if you wanted that look. So I'd probably use it for something else. But I decided to laminate it to see if it would make it stronger, and indeed, I believe it did. Okay, so you wouldn't have to laminate these to make them stronger, but you definitely could. It's a possibility. It definitely increased its strength. So that's why I did it, to make, so I could pass that info on to you guys. Okay, so there's that. Now, here's one that is just printed on 65-pound craft cardstock. Okay, looks really good. I love this card. I will link it down below if I have it. I'm trying to think if I do. Okay, so here these are. This is only 65-pound cardstock, and then I laminated I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these came out really good, and you know, because they're laminated, they're really, really strong. Honestly, this is the cheapest way to go. This is what I would go with. So here's a minister one, here's officers one. I just love these. I'm gonna hand these out to officers and ministers. This is so cool. Okay, and then I did just regular copy paper, right? Regular good old fashioned copy paper, laminated, right? That's, if you already have that and don't have the rest, then there you go. These are be some fun cards. So I think that covers everything here. So let me just scooch these on out of the way. And just to let you know, these engraving cards, they do fingerprint, but they're very easy. Like when you're making them, you'll get your fingerprints on it. You can just take one of these soft cloths and just kind of scooch around it and get the fingerprints off it as you present, or before you present the card. Okay, so let me again get these out of the way. Here's how the cards come. They also came with pink. I didn't make any of these. I'm saving this for a different project. But these are the colors that it came in. Pink, gold. Oh, here they are. Okay, so blue, silver, pink, gold, and black. So again, I will link these in the description. And they didn't take long to arrive either, which is cool during this time of year. They come in a cute little package like this. And they're not covered with a protective sleeve, but like I said, the fingerprints wipe right off, okay? So there's that. You will want a lint roller or Scotch tape or blue tape, because you want to get the engraving off of these cards without scratching. So as you can see, these are the little pieces of engraving spectacles that literally come off right after I engrave the project. I don't want my cat getting his paws in these, so I'm real careful about making sure I keep my workspace perfectly clean for Sir Whiskey. Okay, so we'll put that there. And the only other thing I used, for the ones that I printed, I used just my regular, any paper trimmer will do, but this helps if you want to, once you print them, you're going to want to cut them into individual business cards. Or what I did is I printed, there's 3 pages. I printed all 3 pages. I ran each page through my laminator, and then I cut them with my paper trimmer. And then once I trimmed them, I used this is super old. You guys remember Creative Memories? From moons ago. Anyway, I used my paper or corner trimmer to make the corners fancy, right? Just put it in, clip, 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 clip. All right, so there we go. Okay, so back to this. I'm going to scooch this out of the way. Okay, so what you want to do, remember when we put the aluminum card on the preview screen, the preview mat screen, while we were over there at the computer? So what I did was I lined it up to the exact same place, the 1 inch by 1 inch mark. It's simple as that. I'm not using tape. I've used this mat a ton of times. You can tell it's all scarred up from my boo-boos and stuff like that. But what's cool is these are so lightweight that I haven't needed to actually add. Usually when you engrave something, you have to make sure that you tape it down. This one, you don't have to. It's working fine on mine. I would say if your strong grit mat is brand new, I would probably use either the green or even the blue one if your mats are brand new, right? Because since these do bend, you'll see it's a little tricky getting it back off of the mat. So play with it, maybe if you buy the multi-pack, play with it on a silver one first, right? Just as a test. And that way you don't ruin your pretty colors where the engraving shows good. If it works good on the silver, your lining up method and the mat, as long as it sticks, then go ahead and make the one that you actually want to make. So use the silver for your trial run, and you won't feel bad if you screw it up. That's my theory. Okay, so like I said, put it at the 1 by 1 mark, load it into your machine. It's already blinking for load. I've got my engraving tip already in here. Remember, I don't need anything in Clamp A. I'm going to hit the load button and go. So it's going to go through the scoring process. Now it's going to go and make sure that I've got the right tool. It's going to make sure I have the the engraving tip. And now it's going to engrave. I'm going to let it go through its engraving process and I'll meet you right back. All right, so it's done engraving. I'm going to unload my mat. And as you can see, it comes out really nice. Okay. Now you can't really tell that there's metal flakes on there, but trust me, there are. So I'm going to take my lint roller, and like I said, you could use blue tape if you want. And I'm just going to put it on it and just kind of roll with it. It wants to pull up, right? It wants to pull up away from this. That's why I just push and hold down on it. So I'm going to take another spot right here and go this way. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to flip it over upside down. Now it's going to be hard for you to see on camera, so I'm going to kind of explain while I'm doing this. I'm going to prevent this from being bent as I'm pulling the mat away from the card. I don't want to stick anything under here because it would, scratch it. If I felt like I had to, I would use this, but wrap this around it. Right, but then this wants to stick to the mat, so I found that was out kind of a pain in the rear. So what I do instead, and I found that this method works really well, is I turn the mat upside down and I put my finger right here, only it's going to be this way. Okay, so my mat is upside down, my card is right here. Make sure you can see that in the camera. Okay, yeah, kind of see it. Okay, so as you can see, this is why it's kind of good to not have a super sticky mat. When I bend this, see how it's trying to pull away? Okay, so instead of just pulling it, if I pulled it right now, it would bend the card, trust me. So what I'm going to do is put it down flat, okay, and lift up just so that my fingers can get in there, and then as I pull the mat up, I'm actually keeping my fingers on top of the back of the card, pressing it down to my desk. And I inch my fingers a little bit at a time. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just inching them. Okay? And check that out. Perfectly straight card, does not bend that way. So I hope you were able to capture that on film. And look how cool that looks. It says Crafter Man card, where glitter turns to steel. I think that's very cool. All right, so there is our project. I hope you like it. Everybody that we told what we were doing, everybody wants cards. So I think it's going to be popular. Hopefully the guys think it's popular. This was actually approved by several, not just several, actually 4 guys know about this project. And they were like, I want the football one. I want the fishing one. So, there you go. There's proof. My son is an essential one. Well, actually, both of my boys are essential workers. And I was talking to one of them, and he was all like, he's the one who came up with the idea for the essential worker card. So anyway, I put it in my blog. It's a cute little story. Alrighty, so as always, remember to create with love. Bye.